Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going good, going pretty good, man. Going
Yeah.
really pretty good. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of topics to get into today, as usual. And to start it off, Golden State, they had a dominant win against Cleveland in Game 4, and they were able to win their third title in the last 4 years. And it was Game 3 was kind of the game where Durant, he has an incredible performance. I mean, in this game, Durant has a triple double. Wins his second back-to-back. Wins his second Finals MVP for a consecutive year. And Curry has a 37-point game. And in Game 3, Curry and Thompson both had really bad shooting nights. Curry was 1 of 10 from 3 and 3 of 16 overall. And this game, from the jump, Iguodala and the other role players were knocking down open shots. And you can do that, but if they're going to knock them down, it's going to be really tough to beat them with Curry and Durant also having a great performance. So with how the series played out, and obviously, Game 1 and how that could have maybe been a different type of shift for Cleveland. What were your thoughts on the overall outcome?
I think you have to point back to the number one, the first game, to be honest. Though that mishap kind of solidified the state of the Cavaliers. Now everybody's on the same page. Mistakes throughout the game, and you still had an opportunity to beat one of the best teams in the league, and you don't finish. You had two opportunities, one in the miss free throw of George Hill, and then the mishap with J.R. Smith. We all saw the memes and different things that came about of that Shabako. But
that's one way to put it.
And even in Game 2, they had opportunity to win that game. So it wasn't a state of mind. Yeah, they had more talent-wise than the Cavaliers, but they still had opportunities to win. Now, third and fourth game, it was no contest. KD won.
Well, Game 3 was up for grabs at one point. When LeBron hit the three and it was 101-100, but then KD closed it.
And it went off. It's simple mistakes in not closing out on shooters. I understand shooting from deep from the 3-point line, but you still have to close out. Effort. I didn't see effort for the Cavaliers. I saw it from LeBron James. I didn't see it in Game 3, Game 4, to be honest. Maybe he was already out of the whack, and maybe you could due to the undisclosed injury of his hand. We'll probably get to that. I'm pretty sure we'll get to that later. I don't want to speak out on too much. But I saw a team that was, with the players they had, still had an opportunity to beat a 73-9 team that once was. Yeah. So they had a lot to look forward to. See, now every time I say something, it just looks bleak. It looks bleak.
Do they have a lot to look forward to, or not a lot to look forward to?
Well, they don't need to hang their heads down because you had the opportunity to beat a great team. But
I'm just saying with the possibility of this being LeBron's last game, that's always a dark cloud, but they definitely had opportunities.
Yeah, they definitely did, and they didn't close out on them. Even the mistakes in Game 1. Game 1, they needed to win. They had the opportunity to win. And then the series kind of took a toll on them. But all in all, we saw what the Golden State Warriors could do. We already know what they can do. If somebody's not shooting well, another guy pick up the slack. Cavaliers didn't have that. LeBron is scoring. Nobody else will score. Even when Kevin Love, he had like 20, 23 points. That's not enough.
Yeah.
But
and Rodney Hood actually was playing well in Games 3 and Games 4. But in late game situations, if Rodney Hood is your second best option, you're going to be like in a world of trouble. It's just there's just if it gets to that extent, I think it's just shown us it's shown us why there have been so many issues with Cleveland, because Game 1, the last 30 seconds of Game 1, it was like a microcosm of the Cavs' entire season. LeBron has one of the best performances in a finals loss any player has ever had, and one of his teammates forgets to score, and an 81% free throw shooter misses a free throw. And J.R. Smith's offensive rebound was huge, but it's just, obviously the debacle afterward, made it null and void. In terms of, there were 3 great performances in this series. LeBron's 51, 8 and 8, Curry's 9 triples in Game 2, and Durant's 43. out of those three performances, which one do you think will stick with you the most and will be the most memorable?
LeBron, to be
Yeah.
honest. LeBron James, hands down. I know Curry's a shooter. He's gonna streak. I know KD has the ability to score big points, but I don't consider that. If that's considered one of KD's best games, that's a hit on his legacy. That is a definitely even
Wow.
when he was playing with OKC and the Supersonics. If 43-8 is your best game, they consider that your best game. Then
I mean,
think
he also
that's
had 13 rebounds
but
and
I'd
7
rather him
assists.
last series, last NBA Finals, when he blocked a couple LeBron James shots and he still had like 33, 35
So
points.
you mean like a
I'd
two-way
rather,
performance?
yeah, I want to see a two-way performance. We know you're a scorer. We know you can take over games. But if that's considered, I think that'll be like if I was Kevin Durant, I was like, wow, y'all really think that's my best game? Y'all haven't seen anything yet. Or that's like, yeah, y'all haven't been watching me my entire career. I think that's a knock against him. I still think KD is a great player, but that's a knock. If you think that's his best game, seriously, if that's his best game, whatever. But LeBron James doing what he did, I know everybody's saying he has a lot of excuses. We're giving him excuses, whatever. But to do that on a consistent basis, in the NBA, we don't look at consistency anymore. We don't
Right.
look at that anymore. He's been consistent. He's been bringing teams to the finals, whether he wins or not. He's going to the finals, especially this year alone. In the years before he left the Cavaliers and taking them to the finals.
This is one of his greatest accomplishments.
I think so. Year 15, man. Year 15 breaking records, doing it on a consistent basis. That's going to stick with you the most. Not a 9, going from 9, whatever, not shooting 9 3-point shots and going 43-8 with 13 rebounds. I'm not going to remember that. I'm going to remember a consistent guy.
Yeah. To me, yeah, it's LeBron. His performance was the most memorable. Obviously, whenever Steph gets in a groove, it's something to behold. But I think how he almost single-handedly won that game. That was just, it was just amazing. And I mean, I'm not going to say that was Durant's for game 3, that was his best performance, but I think it was one of his best just because this is why they brought him here.
I'll take that.
System and talent. When the system breaks down, the talent overrides it. And that's what Durant has. And in terms of, Bill Russell Celtics, the Showtime Lakers, the Bulls, the early 2000 Kobe and Shaq Lakers, where does this team kind of rank to you? And I know that's hard to do that, but just in terms of their run and first of all, their run, and secondly, how long can it last with if there's a team you think that maybe can get in their way? Because I do think if there's one team that I'd love to see them go up against fully healthy is Boston. I really do think that would be a great series, and there would be they got a ton of two-way guys who can switch, create their own shot, defend. I think that would be a really good series.
Well, I guess I'll attack the first question. I think the team they most resemble will probably be the Showtime Lakers, because the Showtime Lakers has so many weapons. Backcourt, front court, you have Magic Johnson leading the way, you got Steph Curry leading the way, you have role players that can be star players, and Klay Thompson, Iguodala, Sean Livingston. You got a star like Kevin Durant, who's 7 foot, who no one really can hold. I think they resemble that team the most. It just depends on, and attack the next question, it just depends on what these guys want to do with the rest of their career. You won 3 championships, three out of 4. You got 2 guys' contract is up after the next year. That's Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. You have Draymond Green for 2 more years. You have Steph already solidified with his contract. Sean Livingston has 2 more years. And all these other role players' contracts are up after this year. Javal McKee, David West, Pachula, Nick Young, all these guys. Jordan Bell has an extension the next year. So all these guys, just depends on what they want to do. Do you want to stay, or do you want to be a superstar somewhere else, or you want to be a team player, rack up the stats and rack up more rings? And I think they'll take the rings over stardom any day.
Yeah.
I think KD stays. I think Draymond Green stays. Steph is already going to stay. The only thing about that, after that, you have to see if they can pay everybody. I know KD did a pay cut.
The luxury tax bill is going to be out of this world, 2019.
So I know that they want to stay together and win more championships. That's okay. That's fine. But then you have to worry about paying everybody at the same time. So that might be a hindrance. But they'll stay together as long as they want to. I think that's it.
So who's the team that you think can have the best chance of, bringing them
beating
down?
them next year?
Yeah.
Wherever LeBron James go in the Celtics.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
honest, the Rockets. I'll say the Rockets again.
Right. Yeah. Because like we hear this notion that, oh, like the Warriors are unbeatable, and this is like bad for the inevitability is bad for the league. But we forget that last series they were down 3-2, and if Chris Paul stays in that series, who's to say that they don't win that?
Mm-hmm. They lack the offensive presence. They lacked a leader from the offensive side, and then yeah. But I think if Chris Paul was there, he would have been a difference maker. Most definitely. Once again, I bite my tongue and eat the crow.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought last
Yeah.
August you'd be saying this in June that, and if Chris Paul was there, they'd be in the finals.
I did say injuries would prone him.
Right.
I did say he's injury prone, but I didn't know the significance he would have going and being on that basketball team. I see now why he went there, because he could be a field general, even with the ego of James Harden. But they could beat them next year. If everybody stays and they add more pieces like LeBron or somebody else, another big man or another guy who can consistently shoot the three, oh, they're in trouble. They're still the top contender in the West right now, even with that team.
Yeah,
a healthy Chris Paul, though.
Well, like you said, LeBron, he could, wherever he goes, it's going to have a huge impact. And he's expected to opt out of his $35.6 million contract this offseason and become a free agent. And wherever he goes, it's, the entire league is going to be holding their breath to see where he goes and what decision he's going to make, because it definitely will have, definitely will be a power shift in terms of contenders. So in terms of what he does this offseason and what chances Cleveland can bring him back, what do you think of his future with Cleveland?
There's no chance of him coming back to Cleveland.
Yeah,
I think the trade deadline was their last hope for bringing him back to Cleveland, and now the first game of the finals solidify that he's not coming back to Cleveland. You can see the frustration on his face, the frustration in his body language that we never saw before. That's a guy who's fed up, who's put all he had into this organization. Once again, for them to not do enough for the guy, just like they did before. They didn't do enough. So now he has to go. It's part 3, man. He doesn't go back to get. Now I'm convinced he will not. If he goes back to Cleveland, it will be like Jesus is coming back type of vibe. Just like it's like
you haven't forsaken us.
Yeah. Like seriously, it's gonna be one of those moments you just throw everything. Just oh my God, just throw everything in the water. Just set it on not the water, just a barrel, set it on fire. Like I don't know about life anymore. But he doesn't go back. No, he doesn't go back at all, man.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see it happening. In terms of what Cleveland would do if he leaves, they'd probably trade Love. And do you think it'd be one of those things where they like, okay, we're still going to try to be competitive, or it's just like, okay, we're just going to try to reboot and just start this whole thing over? Because the only really option they have the only thing that can really make them somewhat luring to LeBron is the 8th pick and trading that away for somebody in really good in return. But I really don't know who that would be.
Yeah. At this moment, I don't know either. And then when LeBron leaves, I never thought about this. If LeBron leaves, what kind of state will they be in? They'll definitely trade away Love and try to get a star player. They're going to definitely have to reboot. When LeBron left, their reboot was Kyrie Irving. Their number one guy they believed in was Kyrie. And then now we know where Kyrie is at now. Yeah. So who will be that guy? J.R. Smith can't be that guy. Rodney Hood can't be that guy. Clarkson maybe in the future.
Yeah, not the guy who doesn't remember the score of the game.
Exactly. Nance Jr. maybe. But they're going to have to go out for a guy. They're going to have to spend a lot of money. Like we said, Kyrie, oh God, my God. Yo, it's like my mouth is.
Uncle Drew, just say Uncle Drew.
No, not Uncle Drew. No, Leonard. I'm talking about.
Okay. I thought you were saying Kyrie. Okay.
No, it's like my jaws.
I was thinking of the movie coming up and everything.
My jaw, listeners, it's not that I don't know how to talk. I talk in a great way.
This is a world-class talker.
My cheeks are so big. It's like it's kind of hard to form words quickly. Okay, I'm going off subject. But Leonard is available, so they're gonna have to spend a lot of money this summer. When
Yeah.
LeBron leaves, part 3, he's gonna choose somebody else, and they're gonna have to go out and spend some money. Nope,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to spend some money. Yeah.
Dan Gilbert, and the last thing for this topic, Dan Gilbert really feels like he feels confident that he can build a championship contender without LeBron. Do you think that type of confidence is kind of misguided? Because it really
He
has. I
tried.
mean, even with Kyrie, 4 years it wasn't successful.
He tried. He
Yeah.
tried. That's what I'm gonna say. He tried. No, without LeBron, that organization would never, ever be successful. They
Yeah.
shown with him they can be successful. Without him, it's like, baby, come back. It's literally that song. So they cannot be successful. Maybe 5, 30, 50 years from now, they could be successful without LeBron.
It
Right
really
now,
was
no.
when the game ended. It's like one of the things I was thinking, like, we're not going to see a finals in Cleveland for a while.
Yeah, no.
It's going to be a while,
It's gonna be a
So
long time.
yeah, so it really had one of those feelings. But last thing with Cleveland, LeBron, it was revealed that he had a right hand injury. I mean, pretty much he was playing with a broken hand the last 3 games. Punched the blackboard after a really frustrating game 1 loss, and it was. LeBron talked about, he let his emotions get the best of him, and it's understandable. Definitely you do want to control your emotions, even after a really tough road game 1 loss. But what were your thoughts on it and how he was just still able to put up, great numbers?
At first, I didn't believe it until ESPN released a picture of the difference between his left hand and right hand, and how the hand was severely swollen. And you can see, I've seen people with broke hands before that can still, wrap it up or do something with it. I saw how the swelling was, and I was like, that's incredible. It's going to be a lot of haters and a lot of people that don't agree. That's another excuse, but it's another. I think it's another notch on his belt of how great of a competitor he is.
Sure.
To play with that kind of hand, this is basketball. Football, you can wrap it up, and you can still be able to tackle, catch, whatever. Basketball, you need your hand. You're playing with your hands. So to be able to do that and still score over 30 points, that's incredible. Just how Michael Jordan played with the flu, Paul Pierce played with the messed up knee, Kobe playing with it's multiple injuries. It's just another notch to tell this guy, I'm a competitor. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you afterwards, after it's over, so you can see, like, yo, he gave his all. Like, you cannot say LeBron didn't give his all. But
Right.
I thought on his part, it was kind of childish, him punching the blackboard. But I've been there. I've been in sports where my anger takes over and I'm upset, and I get that, but it's gonna happen. But to continue to play on that type of level with that's unbelievable, man. You just got
Yeah.
to bask in the glory of LeBron James.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think this is one of the series where the appreciation for LeBron, it kind of even grows,
Yeah.
because just the fact that he was able to do this and still keep this team in 2 games, game 1 and game 3. And there were lapses. I'm not saying that LeBron does not make, is exempt of any mistakes, and that he doesn't make any mistakes, because sometimes,
Right.
the defensive lapses, like,
Oh, yeah.
there were times in Boston where he wouldn't chase around screens to guard Brown because he just was going to conserve energy. But when you do that with Clay and Steph, you're going to get burned, and so
Yeah.
you can't really conserve that much energy, and that will definitely backfire. But still, just to play through that, and still seem like, really, I mean, the alley oop he threw to himself, and he's still able to put up highlight reel plays. It's really
Right.
phenomenal. The 76ers and Bryan Colangelo parted ways this past Thursday, as it was revealed that his wife was managing a few of these accounts, and now they're in a position where Brett Brown is the current, I think, president of basketball operations, just as an interim before they find somebody new. But with this, and how they're two, I think, a week away from the draft, a few weeks away from the free agency period where they want to add another superstar to this young core to really be able to compete for a championship. First of all, what are your just thoughts on how bizarre this was and the effect of it, just in terms of the front office, and who do you think would be the next best to hire?
First of all, hats off to the Ringer for finding this information. And I didn't know what the Ringer was until this.
You didn't know what the Ringer was?
I didn't know. I didn't look at their articles or anything.
Oh yeah.
I'm a BR guy. I'm a SB Nation type of guy. Bleacher Report.
Yeah, I just got into the Ringer this past year, so it's really good.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were until we started talking about the subject, and now I see those guys are real deal. Hats off to the 76ers organization for taking the precautions and doing the right thing by investigating fully, finding out that it was his wife. And then he said his wife, he didn't know about it. It was his wife defending him. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's crazy. But, wow. Yeah, man, I think he said, quote, "Her actions were a seriously misguided effort to publicly defend and support me. And while I recognize how inappropriate these actions were, she acted independently and without my knowledge or consent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera," end quote. That's, I don't know what to say about that, man.
It's bonkers.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And to you not to know that, how didn't you know that? But I guess I'll go towards the next question, and who can be the successor is, I try to do as much research as I could, man, to try to really.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm gonna say David Griffin. David Griffin because
You took mine.
Oh, my bad.
No, you go.
Just throw away. I'm just gonna throw away the paper. but yeah, I really feel like it's David Griffin because he knows how to connect with superstars. Like his first year in Cleveland, he knew how to connect with LeBron, how to build a championship core. The guy is just brilliant in terms of just he knows where the league is right now and what is the best way to rebuild. And with Philadelphia, they don't need to rebuild. They just need to continue to build and contend now. And just the experience he had with Cleveland and just his expertise, I really feel like he would be the best fit. And his, if they want to go after LeBron, he knows LeBron pretty well.
See, you took all my points, and I'm proud of you. I was just going to say that, like, if he did go and take the job of the 76ers, the 76ers will have a better chance of getting LeBron. I think Philadelphia is a great city for LeBron's kids as well. So I think if he goes there, they have a better opportunity because he, like you say, he knows LeBron. He knows how to win. He knows how to move people around. He got the Kevin Love trade. He put enough talent for LeBron James to be able to win those championships in 2014, 2017, or even contend for championships. So, I agree. I definitely agree David Griffin is probably the best choice out of all these guys. I think it's like 4 or 5 guys that's available, but I think David Griffin is the best candidate.
Yeah, I think Brandon Williams was once the 76ers vice president of basketball operations. Vice president of basketball administration. So, he had some workings with them. Is there any chance they bring back Sam Hinkie?
I was reading
the guy who envisioned the process, or do you think that ship is kind of sailed?
I think he played his part in his role enough to envision that and to help a little bit. But you need a guy who's already had success in an organization like David Griffin, and who can go after the big gun that he already knows about and knows how to get him back to a place where he needs him to be. I think it was a lot of reasons why LeBron came back, but I think David Griffin was one of the reasons why he came back, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
No, Sam is not coming back. I don't think they'll bring him back at all. But he's a contender, though.
Yeah, and last thing with the Sixers, Embiid I think has 1 year before a max extension next summer, and Simmons I think has two more years left in his rookie contract. How pivotal do you think this upcoming offseason is in terms of their chase for another free agent? Like the next 14 months seem like pretty like pivotal for this team. Like, but how important do you think this particular summer is going to be for like their next, their developmental years for their main core of the next 3 to 5 years?
They need to win fast to keep all these guys together. Because if they don't, the process is only going to be a process as long as you have it in your head. So these guys have bought into the ideal of, okay, this is a process. But after that process is over with, or the franchise of the process is over, the aroma is gone, it's going to be the dust is settled. And then we're going to have these guys whose contracts are coming up and they want to seek other places like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and even Markelle Fultz in a few years. So you want to win this offseason. Getting LeBron is the pivotal part of the process being complete. If they get LeBron James, the process is complete. It's complete. That's the focal point. You want to complete the process. How many years are you going to say, trust the process?
Yeah.
If you get LeBron James or Leonard or any other guy in the next 2 years like Klay Thompson, the process is complete. You have enough weapons. It's going to be complete. Focus on this summer getting LeBron James. And it starts with getting David Griffin. Get David Griffin. Get him in the contract.
That's the first step.
First step. And get him to go get LeBron. Hey, LeBron, I'm back, baby. What you want, baby? You want a championship? I'm back. LeBron. No.
You want to trust this process?
Hey, big head. But no, I'm serious, though. That's the number one point. Focus on getting LeBron James, and the process is finished.
Yeah,
because you can win with LeBron. Yeah,
definitely. With that, since you're talking about LeBron possibly going to Philly, is there any concern with my one concern with that? I think it would be great, but my only concern is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, LeBron is like the complete version that Ben Simmons is being compared to. Like Ben Simmons said, oh, he can be the next Magic Johnson, the next LeBron. Do you think him having to play off the ball a little more would be an issue that, since he really can't create offense outside of the paint, do you think that may be an issue, or Ben Simmons just has to develop his shot more?
That would force him to develop a shot. I don't think he hasn't been forced yet. These first couple years, he's been settling into what kind of role and what kind of player he's going to be in the NBA. Now you solidify as a facilitator, you have to add that shooting ability to your game. LeBron had to do it too. If you're going to resemble him or match up him with LeBron James, LeBron had to focus and revamp his shooting style and what his shooting ability was. That's what Ben Simmons has to do early and often. I think if you get LeBron James, he will be forced to understand I have to create my own shot and be able to shoot consistently. I think it'll force him to do so. And I think having LeBron on the team, it will put a stamp on it, like, little man, hey, you're good, but you can be even better if you develop your shot. So I think it will be it'll be a pros and cons, but I think it will force him to understand I have to develop my shot more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. With the last thing, I mean, with do you think with Embiid that would also do you see any issues there? I mean, probably having to be like maybe a stretch 4. Do you think Embiid would be fine with that, or do you think Embiid would maybe transition into the LeBron possible coming better than Simmons?
I don't think so, because LeBron, first off, if LeBron goes to Philly, I don't think LeBron has to do much. He has young, talented guys around him. All he has to do is be a Magic Johnson and play defense. He doesn't have to be the scorer. He could dish the ball to Joel Embiid, dish the ball to Markelle Fultz standing on the 3-point line, dish the ball to Ben Simmons, let him shoot. This is a win-win for Joel Embiid, because he's going to feed Joel Embiid the ball. LeBron's trying to feed Kevin Love the ball, Bosh the ball, all the guys, all the big men he played with. Even when he played with Shaq, he fed Shaq the ball a lot when he was with the Cavs. So I think this would be a win-win situation for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid won't have to change much. Be Joel, and he's going to dish you the ball. He's going to give you the ball. I think it's a win-win situation for the 76ers.
Well, last thing about the Sixers. Ben Simmons is amazing, but I hope he avoids the Kardashian curse.
Uh,
Hopefully, hopefully he will
nah.
avoid.
Well, she's not a Kardashian though.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
She's a Jenner or whatever her
Jenner.
name is.
Yeah, any affiliation with the Kardashians though, it can
Yeah,
it can be
true.
murky.
This is true. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Um, yeah, yeah. Transitioning to college football, Kyler Murray, the quarterback for Oklahoma, the backup, original backup for Baker Mayfield, reached a deal with Oakland A's that will get him close to 5 million and still will let him play for Oklahoma this fall. And he was picked up by Oakland with the ninth overall pick in the amateur draft for the MLB. And he told the A's that he would put baseball off and still respect his commitment to Oklahoma. So in terms of just like we've seen some player like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, even Russell Wilson had interest in baseball with the Rangers. In terms of that, doing two sports, what are your thoughts on Kyler Murray's decision? And just it seems like his intentions to kind of stay put with Oklahoma.
I think he's doing both actually. I think
Oh,
he's
oh,
doing
yeah,
some.
yeah,
Yeah, he's doing both. So what I've understood is, I think I forgot the other guy named Donald. Shoot, what is Donald DeLay? Hey, he was considered ineligible. The UCF kicker. He was considered ineligible because he was doing YouTube videos that was making money or something on his name. And then he put on, so how in the bleep did I get kicked out from making YouTube videos? At NCAA explained, because Kyle Murray got the $5 million deal and he can still play baseball as well as play football for Oklahoma. So he's doing both. And I think it's because he was doing completely Donald was doing football, just that sport. I think Kyler was doing both sports and he's went professional, so he still can do the other sport because it's still collegiate. He's not making money from football. He's making money from baseball, but he's a professional. So I think that's how he got the wiggle room to do both, if I'm not mistaken. But I seen him play baseball. The kid's a baller, and he could be a good quarterback for Oklahoma. So him doing both is outstanding. Can he is a matter of, can he continue to be successful in both and keep the wear and tear of his body intact so he won't be gassed out. Because football is 24. It's year round. Football is a year round sport, and baseball is definitely a year round sport because all the games, the stretch of the games. But he's a good player. If anybody can do it, I think he's one of the guys. Russell Wilson definitely can do it. Like you said, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, those guys can also do it. Will Still Chamberlain did it with volleyball, basketball, and some other sports. So it's not
yeah.
not unheard of for players to do so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he backed up Mayfield last season, completed 18 of 21 passes for 385 yards and three touchdowns. So in terms of just you know for basket for I mean college football reasons, in terms of just filling the shoes of the Heisman, the Heisman winner last season, and all of the expectations of that. How do you think that new start for him will be? Kind of having to follow up a really tough act.
You will have to focus, really, really focus. They get a couple guys back. They're still a pretty decent offense. Defense, they will have to get some work because they've never been a defensive minded team. They always focus on the offense, even when Sam Bradford was there, and even outstanding running back named Adrian Peterson. No, yeah, that's right, Adrian
Yeah.
Peterson. I'm thinking of another guy. Whatever. I always get these. I mean, it's all my brain fights with. Okay, whatever. But it's always been an offensive minded. So if Murray is going to be successful, he's going to zero in, and he went 18 to 21, but we haven't seen him go on a full game yet. So it's going to be interesting how it affects him, because now you have baseball on your mind, you have this target on your back. Or how did he get to do all this stuff? Or now you got, you're succeeding Baker Mayfield, who was outstanding on the Heisman. It's going to be a lot of pressure. Can this kid deal with the pressure? and we don't know yet. Well, I don't know. We don't know how the offensive line is going to hold up, how he's going to be in there for an entire game, an entire season for that matter. But it's going to be interesting. He's going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely will be a interesting transition. Um, Transitioning to the NFL, Julian Edelman this past Friday was suspended 4 games for PED use, and he made a post Instagram, saying like he completely was unaware of it. He's worked with Tom Brady's trainer, I think Alex Guerrera is his name, and Guerrera, he was shocked just as everybody else didn't see any inklings or just evidence that in the past that would show that this would surface now. But in terms of the fact, like, this is Brady's most trusted receiver. He has built up such a rapport with him, and on just thinking of the catch he made against Atlanta, some catches he made against Seattle. I think it was a 4th and 10. Brady passed to Edelman, and Cam Chancellor gave him a really hard hit. Edelman like bounced back, ran for an extra 2 yards, and he's a really gritty player. He's one of those players that Brady has such a good connection with, and now for 4 games, they're going to be in a position where they don't have Amendola. He went to Miami. They're kind of in a tight spot with receivers that they can, and I think Brandon Cooks departed from them too this past offseason.
He did.
So yeah. So and so I was trying to think of the next receiver. So in terms of his 4-game suspension, and he's going to try to appeal it. Richard Sherman had success with that in 2012, so it's not out of the realm possibility that it could get reduced a little. But where it's currently at, what are your thoughts on it, and who do you think can step up?
I think this is a blessing in disguise, to be honest. Julian Edelman is coming off a knee injury.
Yeah, ACL.
So those 4 weeks can give him more rehabilitation, get him acclimated to the game, and then he can still practice. No, he can't practice. No, he can practice. No, he can't be around the team. That's right. He can't be around the team. But he can still work out and do those things and make sure he's right. So when they're fine without him. I think we had this conversation when Amendola leaving because of wide receivers. They're fine. Julian Edelman is a big part, but you have to have Chris Hogan. You still have Malcolm Mitchell, who had 2 great seasons with them. You bring in Kenny Britt. You bring in Cordell Patterson, who's a high flyer guy, speed guy. Yeah, you still have Philip Dorsett, Jordan Matthews, who played pretty good with the Bills. They have enough. And then you have the guy who's coming back. His name is Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Big Gronk.
The man.
They're fine.
The man.
They're fine.
Gronk's the man. Gronk's the man.
Yeah, Gronk is the man. Gronk is a monster, man. Gronk, it's child's play with him. It's really child's
playing with little kids.
Yeah, really. And to add to that, they're going to have a solidified run game. They have like 20 running backs. They draft
James White. James White is going to be a really, I think, a really familiar face that can be another trusted guy.
Yeah. With Sony Michel, you have Rex Burkhead, which all these guys are dual threats in the run game and the pass game. So it's like you have a smaller Julian Edelman in Rex Burkhead. Mike Gillislee, who's a good running back, who's going to streak out of the backfield. James White, like you said, and have a big guy in Jeremy Hill. So they're going to have a solidified run game as well as wide receivers who can do their part. And you have Gronkowski. It's like a tank at a water fight, I don't know how to compare it. It's unfair. Gronk is a great tight end. He's really great. I think he's top 5 tight ends in the NFL.
Oh, yeah,
top
definitely.
5. Yeah. So they're fine. Julian Edelman is a big part. I think it gives him enough time to make sure his knee is okay, so he doesn't jump back in and get it hurt. So it's a blessing in disguise. They'll be fine. And you have Tom Brady back there. He'll be fine.
Yeah, in terms of, because like it's always been the next man up for this team. Like that's always been the philosophy and strategy for them. How much of that is just and I know we talk about New England a lot, but how much of that is just the culture that's been set? Or do you think it's the fact that, look, we have one of the best quarterbacks, if not probably the best of all time? Like is it confidence in the culture or just the probably the greatest quarterback of all time?
All the above, Wellington.
Yeah.
It's the confidence of Tom Brady be consistent throughout these years. It's the consistency of the organization who listens to the players, listens to the coach, Bill Belichick, all these guys. They know how to spend their money, and they know how to trust guys that need second chances. They know how to find guys who can be coachable and fit into the right scheme of what they're looking for. That's the MO of the New England Patriots. They've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. I remember when Tom Brady came in, and because Drew Bledsoe got injured. Drew Bledsoe paved the way for a couple quarterbacks, and Tony Romo and Tom Brady. Those are just two guys that come to mind. He paves the way. Him getting injured paved the way for some great careers, man. That is crazy.
He has to be like, man, that sucks.
It does. And it's really, really crazy. So they built this ever since, when Bruce Teddy Bruschi, Ty Long, Ronnie Harris, all these guys, the defensive mind, then they transitioned to be an offensive mind because the defense, they lost a lot of guys. So it's always been the MO to the next guy up. The next guy up. Who's going to sell? We're not going to pay you big money. If you don't want to stay on the contract we have, okay, what's the next guy? So they always have that MO. It's the culture. It starts with Kraft. He's one of the best owners in the league. He's an understanding owner. He listens to the coach. He listens to the players. Man, it's hard not to like the New England Patriots. I won't say like, but respect. Sometimes I don't like New England Patriots, but I respect them.
There's always the respect because kind of, crossing back to basketball, LeBron made an interesting statement about the Warriors after Game 3. He was like, it's like playing the New England Patriots. They don't make mistakes, and they're not going to beat themselves. Like, you have to beat them. And so I think that's the thing with the Patriots. Like, they're such a machine. Like, they really don't beat themselves. The last thing with this topic, with Alex Guerrera, the TB12 trainer for Brady, is there anything about that just like kind of maybe doesn't feel 100% right? Because I mean, Brady, he's confident in it, but that was kind of the rift with Belichick, and Brady with him having his separate trainer and him inviting some of the other guys to get trained by him. Like, what do you think about that dynamic with Edelman?
I mean, we've seen it in the light now, but inside the organization, it stirs up. It brings the animosity and division that you don't want in an organization. But I think they find a way to push it to the side and focus on what's at hand, and that's winning ball games and going to championships and winning Super Bowls. But on the standpoint of the organization, I think it draws a division, especially with your leader as your quarterback and your head coach and Bill Belichick. It brings division because now the guy that you, I guess, not control, but you could talk to, really can't talk to him as much because he has another guy in his ear and he's getting the other players' ears. It's just a lot to go on. And I think it does bring division and problems, but they really know how to understand and focus on what's, the task at hand. But it is a problem, though. I think it's a problem.
Yeah, it really is an interesting dynamic as, a coach wants full access to his quarterback. Yeah. He doesn't want to think like, oh, there's this wall, like, oh, you're different from us, and you have this different accessory that some people, some maybe ruffles other players the wrong way. But I think just the fact it's Brady and he's so accomplished, and they're like, well, of course he's going to have extra benefits, but the coach, he does. It's either like with Belichick, it's either my way or the highway. Like he wants things to be a certain way, and that's kind of the dynamic there. Transitioning our last topic for today, transitioning to tennis. Serena Williams withdrawing from the French Open last week due to an injury, and she pulled out of the fourth round of a highly anticipated matchup with Maria Sharapova, and it was because of a right pectoral injury, and it kept her from serving. So that's, you know, one of the most fundamental things that would have, you know, that kept her from being in this. So I mean, she's obviously extremely accomplished, 23-time Grand Slam champion, and was competing at a major tournament for the first time in 16 months since giving birth. And with her pulling out, and also the kind of the rivalry with her. Well, I don't know if it really is a rivalry, because she has 18 straight wins versus Sharapova, and you know, Sharapova was a you know, said some comments that I'll get to later. But first, with her drawing out, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a smart choice. Get it right. Get rehabilitated. Make sure you're okay for what matters. I think it was a right move for a trainer and Serena to understand. Okay, this I can live without this, especially a matchup I'm 19-3 against. It's not a rival. When I looked at the note, she was like, "Is it?" I was like, "Hold up, she's 19-3." She won twice.
I'm gonna say a personal issue. Yeah. There's a personal beef. That's the way I should. That's what it is. There's a personal beef. I'll just be honest. They don't like each other.
I think so too. But when I saw it, I was like, yeah, she's 19-3. There's no way. This is a rivalry. This is a massacre. But no, I thought it was a smart choice to stand out and get rehabilitated, get right, so I can be at 100%. She was, and I think in one of her I think it's back in March or April, she had an interview, and she was like, if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me. Like in hindsight, was saying, if I'm you're gonna have to beat me when I'm 100%. You're not gonna beat me when I'm 50 or 60% off. Like if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me. And I felt all of that. Like, yeah, you tell us, Serena. No, seriously, I thought it was profound, because she understood she wasn't 100%. She wasn't at her best, and she doesn't want anybody to beat her or have an excuse. Oh, you know. So I think it was a smart choice for her to stay out and to get right, get 100%, and then she's gonna win, because it's Go Serena over here. The flags, waving flag, Go Serena.
and with the Sharapova thing, you know, she won her first Grand Slam by defeating, you know, Serena in straight sets.
Yeah.
But the personal beef I was getting to, in her new book, she said, I think Serena hated me for being the skinny kid who beat her against all odds at Wimbledon, in her book Unstoppable. And, you know, Serena, she called it like 100%, you know, that there was like 100%, like, you know, no truth to that. And it was like really, you know, not accurate. What are your thoughts on kind of the personal beef and just the comments Sharapova made?
I think I don't know. I think she has a little beef where she's a little salty, because you beat her back to back, once in Wimbledon, one in JP Morgan Chase Open back in 2004, same year. Then after that, it's been Serena. And then, especially in the big matches in Wimbledon and all the Australia Open, she's beating you. Like, she's outright beating you. So now you're putting in your book, oh, I think she's mad at me because I beat her in Wimbledon. I don't think she's mad because her record is 19-3 against you. Maybe you have some animosity towards her that you can't. You beat her back to back, but you can't beat her again. So I think it had something to do with that. 18 straight wins, I believe. So, you know, I don't think Serena is. I guess Serena had to come back and, okay, if you're gonna be mad at me, you're gonna come at me this way. I'm not gonna be nice and handshaky and okay, whatever. No, if you wanna bring the dogs out, roof, I'm gonna bring the dogs out. I thought that'll make you laugh. I'm not gonna make you laugh. But no, seriously, I don't think Serena.
You said so seriously. I mean, if you want to bring the dogs out, okay, let's go.
But I don't think it was a serious matter for Serena, because she beat this girl 18 straight times in different matches. So if you're gonna talk in your book, but be about talk in your play.
Right.
If you're gonna be, you know, use words, no, use your actions, use your talents to beat somebody and make them see, okay, I'm better than you. Right now, you're not better than you. She makes more money than you. She has more titles than you. She's beat you 19-3. What do you have? What does she have to be mad about? What?
Yeah. Exactly. There's really no evidence that she would even be mad about that. I mean, It really makes, no sense
at all.
Well, that wraps it up for today. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope.